that is a perfect way to segue into our next guest, Blaine Fowler, dual threat analyst on BYU TV and BYU Radio, headed down to Las Vegas for the West Coast Conference Tournament. But, Blaine, let's start with football. If you could bring back one BYU player from the 2014 roster who is gone now to play in 2015, who would it be?
Well, no, I don't want to be limited. You guys can't limit me. I want Luke Staley and I want Ty Detmer back. That's the two guys I want back.
You can't limit me.
That's the two guys I want. But if I have to pick from last year's team, you know what? I have to go with who is back in spring ball. I have to go with Christian Stewart because
right?
I'm really nervous about the quarterback situation for next year, and I know that he can't play next fall. But if you have to pick out a guy that was a shining star and stepped up to the plate, and now he's doing it again, I'd take him back. I'd take Christian Stewart back in a heartbeat from last year's team.
Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird? He's kind of living the dream of everybody. Like, you finish something and you think, man, it would have been nice to put in a little more work there. And he gets to play. It's not in games, but this is a bigger issue, and we just discussed this, is the fact that BYU is going all in on Taysom Hill again. He is fantastic, the best athlete BYU's ever had at quarterback probably. But if the same thing happens as last year, BYU's in trouble because you're relying on a return missionary that got home in June or a true freshman in Bo Hodge, most likely. That's an issue, Blaine.
It is an issue, and it's an issue in college football. It's just not unique to BYU. I mean, think about the struggles the University of Utah's had at quarterbacks when they've had injuries the last couple of years. The problem is the way recruiting goes today, it's so visible, and everybody knows who's recruiting who. And coaches, once they get that class signed and they can talk about kids, are going to pub kids up. So let's use Mangum as a for instance. I've seen multiple quotes from Bronco where he's saying, boy, we think he can be the guy. He's a really talented kid. We're so excited to get him back. He has to say that to keep that kid engaged, right? Well, what about the recruits that are looking going, well, Mangum's their guy. Why in the world would I go to BYU? I'm not going to BYU. I got to find someplace else where I'm the guy. And so back in the olden days, and I'm talking the olden days, 15, 20 years ago, before all of the social media and all the recruiting sites and all that, you didn't have all this visibility, and you just felt like, well, I don't really know who they're going to sign, but I'm going to go play and I'm going to go compete. And you could stockpile quarterbacks. Heck, there was a time that on the same roster there was Mark Wilson, Jim McMahon, Steve Young, all on the same roster.
Grief.
Woo! Right? And and then, I mean, that's how it went back then. And so you could stockpile because you're really not sure. You know what? As good as Mangum was in high school, I think he's a great high school player. I watched his film. I think he was fantastic. But BYU's had two number one quarterbacks in the country sign with him before. There's no guarantee that at that position it translates from high school to college. It's the most difficult one to project at that next level. It just is because it's such a different game on the college level. There is no guarantee that Mangum's going to be any good at all. None whatsoever. And so you bank that he's going to be great. You hope that he turns out based on all your research and what you saw him do in high school. But the fact of the matter is he may not be good. And if he's not, and you couldn't sign anybody else because everybody thought he was the guy that was anointed, now you find yourself in a difficult situation. And that's the state. This is not just BYU. That's the state of college football right now. So you just hope and pray that these guys that you pick turn out the way that they're supposed to. And if they don't, you're in a lot of hurt. Or if they get hurt, you're in a lot of hurt.
And to me, I think that Tanner Mangum and or Bo Hodge could be really good players. It's about the timing associated with it because there's a return missionary and a true freshman. That's the issue to me. I think those guys could be good later, but it's that you don't have anybody that's played meaningful snaps behind Taysom Hill. Now, let's hope it's 2013. Let's hope that Taysom Hill's healthy, that all is well. But 2 out of the 3 years, Taysom has had a season-ending injury. There's just a chance that could happen.
Well, and part of it is you'd hate to limit Taysom Hill's skill set.
Sure.
Because he's a guy that can run around and make plays. He's a guy that when teams are preparing defensively to play BYU, they go, oh, my goodness, there's this whole quarterback run game that we got to account for. And it just makes BYU a nightmare to prepare for. So you want him to be able to do that, but that puts him at risk. You know, John Beck stayed relatively healthy. Max Hall stayed relatively healthy. Hey, Christian Stewart stayed relatively healthy in a straight drop-back game where they didn't expect the quarterback to run. So Taysom Hill, because of his skill set, you don't want to put the reins on him, but by utilizing his skill set to its maximum and making BYU's offense the best it can be based on that skill set, you put him at risk for injury. And he's an unbelievable athlete. So I'll ask you guys a question. Maybe you already know the answer. Well, now I've given it away because I've foreshadowed this thing. But so they had their front squat test a week or so ago.
I'm betting Taysom Hill won it.
The number one front squat on the team. Are you kidding me? Should that not be an offensive or a defensive lineman?
It's your quarterback?
Right? It's ridiculous.
What does that say about the lineman?
He's one of the most. Here's the thing. What it says is that he's stronger than. If the guy can't play quarterback in the NFL, he can certainly play outside linebacker. He's an unbelievably freakish athlete. It's just crazy how good an athlete he is. The combination of strength and speed and leadership and all that is there's nobody like him in college football. There truly is nobody like him. And so what do? Say, you know what, we're going to put him in bubble wrap and we're going to run a straight drop back game. Well, you can't do that. but man, that puts you in a tough situation because when he's running around, he's at risk, and when he gets hurt, it's a huge change to what you can do offensively. Now, thank goodness for Christian Stewart last year, who came in, and I'll tell you what, Robert and I may have done the best job of coaching that he's done in his coaching career, whether it was at UNLV or Texas Tech or Arizona, wherever he was, of adapting that offense to Christian Stewart's skill set and getting them back on track. Because that offense was really good down the stretch last year, and it was a very different offense. People say, it's the same offense. The emphasis was very different. They turned into a throw-first team, and they were really good. And that's Robert and I, and that's a credit to Robert, and it's a credit to Christian Stewart for being way better than anybody thought he was. I always liked Christian's skill set, but what he showed us was he has the mental makeup to be really good and make good decisions and do all that. And that's the part of it you just don't know about with a Bo Hodge or a Tanner Mangum. We don't know if they have the mental makeup to make the reads, get the ball up on time, and do all those things. They can throw the ball, they can run around, but we don't have any idea if they can play quarterback.
Blaine Fowler, 1984 national champion, BYUtv dual threat analyst on BYU Sports Nation. Blaine, I'm still trying to digest what you just said about Taysom Hill, and it's true. He could play linebacker, strong safety, running back, fullback at the next level. That is legitimate. That's not crazy talk. That could really happen, and I don't know if BYU fans appreciate just how much they have in Taysom Hill and what a great athlete he is. It's crazy.
He's the only athlete that I can think of like him. Well, there's two that come to mind because he truly is a freak of nature. He's a freak, and part of it is he's just genetically gifted. The other part is he works really, really hard. Taysom's got tremendous work ethic. So that combination is always a winner. If I was looking at him, as a DB, so he's really fast. He's a legit 4.4 guy. So he's one of the two fastest guys on the team here. Blackmer probably would vie for a 40-yard dash championship on this team. So that's legit speed. But there's a lot of DBs that run that fast. But there's not a lot of guys that run that fast that weigh 235. I think he can weigh 235 or 240 and still run a 4.4. Now you're talking about an elite NFL linebacker with that kind of speed at that size. That's what we're talking about here. But he's such a great leader, and that you put him at quarterback, and he's the best athlete on the field every time he goes out on the field. It's just a phenomenal thing. And the two guys that I think of, and I know they play completely different positions, but I think of Ziggy Ansah.
Okay.
Because when you look at Ziggy, it's just like nobody that big is allowed to run that fast. That should be against the law. Something should happen. Nobody should be allowed to do that, right? So he's one. And then the only other guy I can think of in this program that you just look at it and go, that's just not even right, is Luke Staley. Luke Staley, at his size, with his explosiveness, I remember talking to Kyle Whittingham when he was up at the U, and Kyle had told me one time, that's the best back I've ever coached against, coached for, or seen in college football because there's no way to defend him. You toss him the ball, and the guys underestimate how quick he gets to the corner, and he runs around the corner and just beats everybody to the corner and outruns everybody. Then the next time, you take a better angle, and he just puts his foot in the ground and cuts back, and you try to arm tackle him, and he just runs over everybody and scores a touchdown. The combination of speed and size and strength in Luke Staley reminds me of Taysom Hill to that same extent. And remember, this was the top running back in the country for BYU. So those three players to me are the biggest freaks that BYU's had in the program. And I'm saying freak in a complimentary way, right?
Certainly. Priority number one for BYU football is to keep Taysom Hill healthy. We all know that. So with him not able to participate in scrimmages, he's going to do some drills, which is good news given how severe that injury was back in early October. What is the goal for BYU football in spring football this year in terms of accomplishing something as a team?
Well, they need to establish timing and those kinds of things. I know that's hard without Taysom in there in team sessions, but for the wide receiver core, I think Nick Kurtz needs to come along and be integrated into what they're doing. The offensive line gets another full spring and summer to kind of gel. I'm really excited about this offensive line for next year. I think this offense, if they keep Taysom healthy, it's going to be really, really good. But I think the goal in spring ball, the overriding goal is they've got to establish who's going to be at the inside linebacker and be a productive game-changer kind of guy in there like they've had, which was lacking last year. So somebody's got to step up. I don't know who that is. Is it Pakula? I don't know who it is. But they've got to establish that. They've got to establish the safeties because, remember, Levitt's gone, and Craig Bills, who they were all right on last year, even though he's injured a lot, is gone. So they've got to replace those safeties, and they've got to figure out who the guy or two guys are going to be. They're going to get them lined up right, get them in the right stuff, because a lot of the problems we saw defensively last year weren't physical problems. They were problems with alignment. They were problems with technique. They were problems with blown assignments. And a really, really good safety can help, and it goes a long way if that guy's getting everybody lined up and they have the confidence in the calls they're making in the back end and those kinds of things. So to me, those are the two priorities. And how important is it that Christian Stewart be out there in practice? Because if you don't have McCoy Hill, you don't have a Division I legitimate quarterback to test that defense. And so Christian is doing an unbelievable favor to this team. The only reason he's out there is to go have fun because he cares about his teammates. And so he's out there. That defense needs to have somebody of his caliber challenging them, testing them, throwing the ball around on time and doing all of that, or they're not really going to know how they are defensively. And so it's huge that he's coming out and helping them while McCoy is hurt.
Blaine, great to hear from you. The spring football scenario at BYU is certainly a unique one and one that we'll keep a close eye on. We also have this other thing going on called the West Coast Conference Tournament, which we will dive into heavily with you from the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. So just get yourself ready to talk basketball with us when we head south.
I'm ready. It's road trip time, boys. I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right, Blaine, thanks for the time.
See you guys.